Howdy again. Here's your old friend Cordell Andersen, who is having one tough time in my effort to overcome crippling back and leg problems to make a comeback for my High Uintas Wilderness Project for 2013. This will be part 3 of what is an up and down painful battle to not give in. In this short slideshow, I'll share my journey of therapy on Y Mountain, Eagle Pass, and Slide Canyon. We approached Y Mountain from Provo's 9th East, heading east on Briar Avenue and then up Ash Avenue, past the home us Andersons built more than 50 years ago, and then on up to the base of the mountain and the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. In the good old days, we could drive right up to the Y, but now you park at the trailhead. Here's a topographical map of the area from Y Mountain east to Provo Peak and on south to Slate Canyon that we saw in part 2. That is about 7 miles from this trailhead up over the Y onto Eagle Pass and Slide Canyon to the base of Provo Peak, and then you swing down to Slide Canyon or to Slate Canyon. As we start up the trail, I check out the rules. And then we head up the trail looking at Slide Canyon, where we see signs, if you look closely, of the old Pioneer Trail up that mountain, or up that canyon. We leave Provo behind and below us and come to the first turn, each marked with the distance to the next turn on each of these 10 turns. There are always fellow hikers, some well-muscled and tan, mothers with their children, and there are signs along the way to help us all do it right. You'll be out of breath as we are heading up rough Y Mountain, from whose summit hang gliders used to launch themselves. Again, we look towards Slide Canyon and what us kids always called Maple Mountain. It's not officially that, but we always called it that because up there is Maple Flats, where there's also a spring, which is the only water on the mountain. I'll mention that again in just a moment. Maple Flat. More turns come and go, and don't bother adding the distance. That I've done it on a calculator, and it comes to 1.2 miles to the Y. Back in my youth, during the summer, on this trail, I bagged a rattlesnake and took him home in a bag, literally. But now the cold has them in hibernation. But from May on, through the summer months, you've got to kind of keep your eyes open, be careful. Soon the Y is in sight, and from another curve we see more clearly Eagle Pass, Slide Canyon, and Maple Mountain. First we come to the bottom of the Y level and see evidence of irresponsible gun-toting jerks. Guns are now prohibited on this trail. The top of Y Mountain hangs over us, and all of a sudden we're at the top of the Y and meet a couple of youth. One of them leaving the next day on his mission to California. His friend, a returned LDS missionary from Rome, Italy, and so I had an interesting conversation with him about that experience. With their help, I got in the slideshow and then headed up the trail to get some views of Provo way down below us. I zoomed in on the parking lot, my car still being there, and then I got a series of pictures of the BYU campus, beginning on the south side, then to the middle, and then farther north with the Marriott Center, and then the Lavelle Edwards football stadium, which of course is now emptied of its 65,000 fans. We now turn towards what us kids always called Eagle Pass. Apparently this is not an official name either, but we used to always call it that for some reason. But looking up above us at the graffiti of the 1960 graduating class, we note a bighorn sheep climbing the cliffs, and then I kind of painfully sidestepped, stalking up towards the cliffs, and then I got some shots up there of a couple of trophy bighorn sheep. Soon we come to what for us was the pass, and that's where I settled down for a rest, some refreshment, and a photo shoot. Looking up Slide Canyon, the Y mountain on the left, and the unofficial Maple Mountain on the right, you can see just barely the trail heading up through the scrub oak. I took telephoto shots of ridges coming off the mountain above Maple Flats, where years ago I would bivouac and never failed to get my buck. Maple Flats is up above these jagged ridges and cliffs where on my last deer hunt, maybe 30 years ago, I bivouacked under a starry sky and all of a sudden was drowned by the echoing howling and yelping of a pack of coyotes. I got my Browning lever action 243 ready across my lap, and soon I heard them coming down the trail 10 yards away, and with the light of the moon I got the leader of the pack as they ran past me. I didn't get my deer, but I did get a trophy to hang on my wall that was with me in Guatemala for 20 years, and now back in Utah Valley, where we live in Springville. These shots bring back many memories of my youth when we all feared a Chinese invasion of the Pacific coast, and me and buddies planned on hiding in these mountains and becoming guerrilla fighters with our deer rifles. In the spirit of Red Dawn, a movie produced much later, with a new version in the theaters today. But there's much more of interest in this area, as we see in this shot, the Pioneer Trail heading up Slide Canyon, named because our pioneer ancestors built a timber slide down the mountain. Here we see the panorama of the area with Y Mountain on the left, then Eagle Pass and Slide Canyon. Up in the top in the middle of the photo, the arrow points to the Maple Flats area and the timbered slope above. The logs were dragged by horses to the front edge of the mountain, from which they constructed a slide. To the right is Slate Canyon. And along the lower edge of the panorama can be seen a level line, which is the ancient Bonneville Lake shoreline. Getting closer, we begin to see the pathway of the slide that was a bit over a mile long. Looking closely, we see the pathway up the face of the mountain, the remnant ending at the Bonneville shoreline. Way up the mountain, we just barely see the pathway through the scrub oak. In the spring, my therapy will take me up the pathway and see what remnants I can find, and I'll report, of course. The sun is getting low to the west and warming the Y with Mount Timpanogos looming to the north. We head back down to the Y and get another few shots of Provo and the valley. A few hikers have joined us to enjoy a spectacular setting sun. We zoom in on the LDS temple at the mouth of Rock Canyon and look down on the parking lot and wait just a few more minutes to record for our winter enjoyment all the beautiful scenes the coming on of night parades before our admiring eyes. Finally, the sun dips into the west. The coolness of the evening has us moving quickly down the mountain. Utah Lake becomes truly beautiful at this time, as do the jet streams streaking across the sky. We're about down the mountain now. A small plane speeds by us and the lights of Utah Valley come on as we reach the car. What a great day. Next up, we will do some therapy on the Rock Canyon Trail. The color of wildflowers is now gone, and so our show will focus on the beautiful and colorful rocks of the Wasatch. Wait, don't lose interest. This will be as colorful and spectacular as the wildflowers, and maybe you'll see something of great worth and value. The snows came a few days after my trips up Y Mountain. and but my therapy sessions have to continue. Of course, for some, like the winter, they of course keep enjoying the mountain. But for me, it's off to the Smithfield House at BYU to join the parade of colorful people who inspire and spur me on to do my darndest to achieve my comeback. If any of this is worthwhile for you, go to my website and see how you can help me persist and finish what I started on my High Uintas Wilderness Project more than 10 years ago. So I'll see you soon. Thanks for being with me.